will win this game 28-18.
Yeah.
Bleh.
Yeah.
Bleh.
I think that's how we all feel, Dave, right?
It's good analysis. Bleh. Yeah. Why'd you have to play that? Can't we just move on to? Can we just be on to Cincinnati?
On to Cincinnati. I'm here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
But we're here with Matt Barrows. He'll give us analysis, right, Dave?
I hope so. From the Sacramento Bee, the longest tenured guest, perhaps of the entire station, certainly of this show. He is here for the good. He is here for the bad. Matt's wearing his. I'm gonna put my glasses on too. The one, the only, from the Athletic, Matthew Barrows. Good morning, Matt.
Morning. Why is Dave wearing a tie? It's like watching a dog stand up on its hind legs. It doesn't sit right, you know?
That is the best.
That is honestly, I'm taking the glasses back off. Matt, I am currently shuttling between England and New York right now for the soccer club, or as they call it over there, football. And today was meetings day. So it's actually better. Actually, let me see here. I showed up for the show. And I only took this off for streaking in the coat and tie as well. Put that on for you. And by the way, I like looking nice for you, Matt. You know, you're a journalist with a capital J.
You're classing up the show. It's a new look. I like it. I think it's going to work for you.
Yeah, don't get used to it. So there's a lot to talk about, but one thing I love about you is that you know the things, and so I'll go off on my own little tangents, be like, you know, Matt, this is what I think, and you have no problems as gently as possible, and sometimes not so gently, saying, yeah, no, you're wrong. This feels like John Lynch time to me. This feels like when the Lynch signal goes out, the John Lynch Batmobile shows up, and with the most cap space in the NFL, which I know they're hoarding for other things, but am I wrong to think this is the time where John's going to go get Myles Garrett, Tyreek Hill, and a right tackle?
Yeah, all three of those guys are coming in for sure. No, I agree with you that, you know, they always make a trade around this time of year, and I don't see why this year would be any different. The question is, you know, where? I mean, what's of the many options? What is the one position where they really need help? And obviously, it's going to hinge on who's available. But to me, it's still the defensive line, and I know that unit was not exposed against the Chiefs, did not look bad against the Chiefs, but beyond Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd, they really don't have any defensive ends. So I'm sure that's an area that they'd love to bulk up, just given the philosophy of the team. Defensive tackle's been hit hard. You know, we watched, who was it? It was Kevin Givens in this game, and he played with a groin injury, and he was kind of hobbling around like a 75-year-old man out there at times. And that's a position where Javon Hargraves is already out, where Yetur Gross-Matos plays a little bit of end and defensive tackle. He's been out, will be out for a couple more weeks. So, you know, that would be my guess. But, I mean, you could make an argument for wide receiver now. Brandon Aiyuk is likely out for the season. Make an argument at running back. There are several positions where you could make a good argument. I mean, right tackle for sure, but I just don't think that there's any sort of abundance of those in the NFL right now.
You know, Matt, I'm curious, since you are so close to this team. Matt Barrows, by the way, joining us courtesy of Stockton Honda. The two losses they had earlier this year that were just bad losses that they gave away really to the Rams and the Cardinals. But this one was a game that we knew probably meant a little bit more, but not that it was going to exercise the demons of the Super Bowl. But they didn't play very well, paired with the Aiyuk injury. Just locker room, I got to imagine that was pretty darn somber post-game yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the frustration with the Trent Williams ejection. I mean, you see that. You see ejections with Trent Williams at really low moments in Philadelphia and in the NFC Championship game and coming out of the 22 season and yesterday. And, yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, I think part of it is that they just cannot escape a game without a gut blow type injury, and now it's to Brandon Aiyuk. So I mean, there are two sort of narratives at work. One is a real Debbie Downer one, which is that, boy, this team really continues to have the feel, the stink of that 2020 team coming out of the Super Bowl. Just could not escape injuries, and eventually just basically had to give up on the season. The other much more optimistic one is that, okay, they beat the Cowboys, a team that they've beaten in recent meetings and beaten pretty soundly in recent meetings. They're 4-4. They go into the bye. They come out of the bye getting some of these guys back. And the team looks dramatically different in the second half of the season. And that's probably the more realistic scenario right now. I mean, nobody is running away with the NFC. 4-4 isn't great at the midway mark, but if you're going to get Christian McCaffrey back, if you're going to get Dre Greenlaw back, Jake Moody back, Dietrich Gross-Matos, I mentioned a couple of other guys, you like your chances going down the home stretch.
So assume, by the way, I'm sorry if I missed it. There's no official word on Aiyuk yet, is there?
No official. I mean,
but we're assuming.
The thing is that the trainers, the doctors can sort of feel around in that knee, and feel for the ACL, and usually they're right. And what happens is the guy gets an MRI on Monday that confirms the sort of physical check that was given on Sunday.
All right, so we're just going to assume and hope we're wrong that Aiyuk is gone for this season, and like you said, coming off the bye, Matt, I'm trying not to jump off the proverbial cliff, but I'm also trying to not go the other way and smoke a bunch of copium and delude myself. But they do this seemingly every year. Now, I know this isn't the 3 in a row ending with the Bengals home loss. I understand that, but they do have players out. They're just not looking right. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'll just ask you simply, when it comes to everything you know about this team, health-wise, John Lynch, everything we talked about, do you tend to lean more bearish or bullish on this team for the remainder of the season?
Bullish, just because there are so many stars on this team. I mean, a punch in the stomach to lose Brandon Aiyuk. Oh, are we having a choking incident? Somebody record this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm getting him. He's getting me back. I sipped that coffee wrong.
This is karma.
Oh God, this is what Barrows went through about 16 years ago on the show. That whole sip of coffee. I tried to mute it right in time, but we're on video now. I couldn't hide. All went down the throat, Matt. So we're
this is a good day for Matt.
This does not compare to what I was doing.
I gotta do one of those.
My point before Dave started to choke is that losing Brandon Aiyuk potentially for the whole season is horrific. But I mean, this is a team that still has George Kittle. It's still got Deebo Samuel. Juwan Jennings, by the way, leads the team in wide receiving and receiving yards right now. And then potentially Christian McCaffrey coming back, and now it's a McCaffrey plus Jordan Mason backfield, which the NFL hasn't seen yet. So, I mean, it's still, even without their leading receiver for the past 2 seasons, it's still a potent offense. And I haven't even gotten into Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall getting really their first runs of the season yesterday. So there's potential. That's why I don't think they're going to have a trade at running back or at wide receiver, just because they feel like they've got some weaponry that really, to this point, has been untapped.
Matt, if you're kind of looking at yesterday's game in a pie chart for the Chiefs and their success on Brock Purdy, how much of that goes to Spagnola? How much of that goes to the Niners missing basically at one point their top 3 receivers and McCaffrey? Kind of where did that fall in line as far as where Brock's performance was yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because, both of his top two in this game at least, or top three receivers. All three were gone by halftime. So that colors things quite a bit. The Chiefs, going back to the Super Bowl, do a great job of taking away wide receivers. They've got really good cornerbacks. And I know L'Jarius Sneed is no longer on the team, but one of their cornerbacks is probably the best one in the game right now. So you're already working with half the field. I do think that, to George Kittle's point after the game, Kittle became the top target in the second half, and it worked. This was one or two plays away from the 49ers being back in this game. Kittle had a 41-yarder. Jacob Cowing had a 41-yarder. Both of those throws were underthrown, and both of them would have been touchdowns had they been hit in stride. So the plays were there. Purdy didn't make them. This was not a good game for him by any stretch. There is a fairly significant asterisk next to that statement. However, when you're missing your top three wide receivers, you're not going to have the best game of your life.
So then I'll ask you, because Jason will tell you, I've been spending all morning, saluting Patrick Mahomes. They've got injuries too. He had a terrible game on paper yesterday and just manages to win. It's the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. But I'll ask you the dumb radio question. Do you think the Niners lost the game more than the Chiefs won, or vice versa?
I mean, that was a typical Chiefs win for 2024. That's how they've been winning. So, I think the Chiefs won the game. Purdy throws that interception in the end zone at the end. There was another interception in the third quarter. The 49ers had chances to either take the lead or get really close in the second half. Had they done that, would that have just meant another Patrick Mahomes drive to win the game? Based on what we've been seeing over the years, the answer is probably yes. So I felt like they were in control, basically from jump, just considering how bad that first quarter was for the 49ers. That to me was the most alarming thing in this game, is that I had covered the practice on Friday, the last practice of the week, and the 49ers were as electric, energized as I'd ever seen them. They were in a great mood. I thought that Ricky Pearsall practicing during the week was part of that, but there was just a really positive, good vibe in that Friday practice. And oftentimes that translates to a really great game, a game like they had against the Cowboys last year, a game like they had against the Eagles last year on Sunday. And this was just the polar opposite. They just had nothing in that first quarter. I'm talking about the offense. Yeah. Just so disjointed, out of sync. I think the Deebo Samuel sickness just kind of threw them. I don't know whether it was going to be a big Deebo Samuel game, and not really having him in full threw that for a loop. And then, it just had a trickle down effect. But that's what stood out to me, is that I think that they were preparing to have a really fantastic, full of energy game, and it just didn't happen.
Matt, we got about 30 seconds left. Got to ask you real quickly on special teams again. Missed extra point, bad kick return coverage, and then quite possibly the worst onside kick ever, all in one game. They're little details the Niners are missing on with these special teams.
Yeah, the punt return was bad. The punt return basically set up the Chiefs' second touchdown. And you watch it, and two guys fall on the play. Two guys slip. Ronnie Bell, and I know 49ers fans don't want to hear that name, but he falls. And then Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, who is, quote-unquote, one of their special team stalwarts, slips. So, one guy slipping's bad. Two guys slipping means 55-yard return. That's what happened. You can't lose your feet on these kickoff returns. They just, I don't know. They're supposed to have the right guys there. These are two guys that have played a lot of special teams, and it's not always them. Sometimes those guys make great plays on special teams, but they just lack consistency on that unit.
Can I just say, I know we're out of time, Matt, but can I just say to the whole thing about special teams, you've got your third kicker in 3 weeks. You pull Anders Carlson off the couch, and oh, hey, dude, here's a 55-yard field goal to score against the defending world champions at home, and he nails it. I know he missed the extra point. I get it. I understand. But I remember watching the game live going, they're putting him out there for double nickel for his first kick, and he just split the upright. So I got to find the positive somewhere.
Yeah, and in a stadium where he had a big issue last year in the divisional playoff game when he was kicking for Green Bay. So, yeah, I mean, you got to be happy for him there. The question was whether they should have gone for 2 on the missed extra point. There was a contingent of people who thought they should absolutely do that.
Well, Matt, thank you so much, as always, for joining us. We got Dave to get emotionally choked up in this suit, and you got him in a suit. So this is a big week for us.
It is huge. Yeah, we're bearing the lead here.
I like to look pretty for you, Matty.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Yeah. Talk to you next week.
All right. Anytime, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. Dave, you're going to love this. The week in LA. We'll talk about what this is going to be like for sports fans. Next.
NFL's leading rusher plays